Welcome to the Cross Canada Spotlight. I'm Mike Arsenault. Every Sunday, we take a look at a handful of the most interesting and entertaining stories produced across the Global News Network. First up this week, a mobile piano man in Ontario takes his music on the road with him wherever he goes.
Not the typical thing you would expect to see on a bike path in Toronto. Then again, James Levac is not your typical cyclist, or pianist. For the past year, James has been pedaling his piano bike, giving impromptu concerts in the open air. His concert set list includes titles from Bach to Bob Marley. Featured artists include Birds and Dogs. His concert hall, an unbeatable view.
The whole world is the concert hall here. It's blending life with art.
His audience is often on the move, but James has a way of stopping them in their tracks to look and listen.
I just thought it was a great thing to do to meet people.
For the 47-year-old, it all began in 2012 with a passion for retrofitting pianos. This in addition to his jobs as a piano teacher, church music director, seniors home entertainer, and fiddler. He even designed a solar-powered grand piano.
So this is another one of my virtual grand pianos running on batteries.
He became a bit of a neighborhood icon.
Sometimes they've asked me to play at their weddings.
Then 2020 happened. When the pandemic hit, James suddenly found himself without a job. For some, that would be reason to panic. But for James, well, he saw an opportunity.
I was thinking this would be a new era of creativity.
A chance to reinvent himself as a full-time busker. Since last October, he's been tickling the ivories under the trees, rain or shine, morning or night. His symphonies don't go unappreciated here, especially these days.
It gives me hope. It reminds me that the best days are yet to come and that we have extraordinarily gifted artists in our midst who really get that.
For James, hearing that sort of feedback is music to his ears.
I sleep well at night having played piano for people. I love it. I enjoy it. It's wonderful to be able to share music with people.
And hopefully make someone smile. Keela McLean, Global News.
I think we can all agree that music is very healing, something that has been sorely needed over the past year. And speaking of healing, check out this incredible story from BC that involves a heart transplant, a missed phone call, and a determined RCMP officer.
Ray, they've got a heart for you. And I woke up and go, am I dreaming?
Ray Bruce has been living with his new heart for a few months now. Looking back at his surgery, he chuckles. He nearly slept through the call that gave him his second chance at life.
I nearly missed it. I know I was.
Back in September, it was a routine night at St. Paul's Hospital when a heart became available for transplant. It was a perfect match for Bruce, who'd been on the wait list for just over a month. The only problem was when the surgical team called, he didn't answer. His wife, Susie, didn't pick up either.
I've been religiously having the phone beside the bed. It was plugged in. The connection is very poor some days. I don't know if it's clouds or what.
I was in touch with Dr. Bashir, the transplant surgeon on call, and I said, we've never been in this situation before. What should we do? And Dr. Bashir made the suggestion, maybe we should reach out to the RCMP, which seemed a little dramatic at the time, but we really didn't want to lose this organ.
After multiple tries and multiple RCMP detachments, a dispatcher finally agreed to send a member to find Ray. Considering it was past midnight, he couldn't rouse anyone either. So he did the next best thing. He flashed his lights and blared his horn until somebody came to see what was going on.
But the neighbors was out there with a flashlight. So he went along there and had our son-in-law's cell number.
The Bruces grateful for their new life. Without the donor's family, the surgical team, and a tenacious cop in Qualicum, it wouldn't have happened.
I'm full of gratitude, believe me. And never a day goes by without gratitude. I find a new lease on life every day is a new day.
Aaron MacArthur, Global News.
Missing an important phone call is a fear for many, and I can't imagine missing a bigger call than that. But luckily, thanks to a lot of people, Ray and his wife will now have a lot more time together. To another story of unlikely teamwork, a case of mistaken identity in Alberta. A musician got an autograph request destined for a former NHL player of the same name. Now Greg Carroll, the musician, is on the case to find Greg Carroll, the hockey player.
Greg Carroll getting in a bit of practice in his garage in southern Alberta.
I've been a professional musician since I was 16 years old.
Putting his bass aside when a surprise arrives.
I got this letter in the mail addressed to Greg Carroll in High River, and it's a hockey card of Greg Carroll.
An NHLer back in the late 70s, playing for the Red Wings, the Capitals, and the Whalers.
This envelope, and I have this letter, and I was like, "Hi, Greg. Could you please sign my hockey card? I'm a big Red Wings fan."
A letter sent from the Vancouver area.
I just love hockey.
A fan who has spent the past 2 decades sending off cards to be signed, getting back hundreds of them from some pretty big names.
This is a fantastic hobby. We beat getting bills in the mailbox when you get like a couple signed hockey cards. It brightens the week.
When I pulled this card out, it was deja vu. Like, oh my God. I had this card, the same card when I was a kid. Of course, because how many Greg Carroll hockey players are there in the world, right?
Eager to help, he enlists his son in the quest to connect the man on the card with a collector in BC.
I just felt bad for him because it ended up in the wrong hands, and I just wanted to help him out. I have been going on Facebook and Instagram.
Found anything?
Nothing yet, no.
Just amazed. I thought it would just, they might write back and say, sorry, wrong Greg Carroll. Their generosity and their just taking the time to do it, I'm just really happy.
And he can count on this, at least a signed poster of this Greg Carroll's band.
Give him some swag and hopefully a signed card, and hopefully that'll make his day better. Kevin, I wish that the real Greg Carroll, actually, let me rephrase that, the other Greg Carroll gets this and signs it for you.
Gil Tucker, Global News.
Well, hopefully we have an update to that story and that man gets his autograph. Sports cards really do continue to have a massive moment during the pandemic. I actually found all of my old hockey cards, and I'm currently trying to figure out if I'm sitting on my early retirement fund or not. From looking for more green to looking for love. Another big impact of the pandemic has been on the lives of dating singles. How do you find a spark with a new special someone when you can't see them in person? Let's go to Nova Scotia for more.
They met on a singles site in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, so getting to the hand-holding stage for Kathleen Marr and Scott Bird took some time.
It is a lot harder during the COVID to get out to meet people and to get out socializing anywheres.
Their first date conversations were not exactly of the romantic nature.
You have to, what's your exposure, how many people you've been around.
Dating certainly hasn't been a walk in the park, says the administrator for the Greater Moncton Singles Facebook group. They too had to shut down their weekly social gatherings due to the pandemic.
It was pretty tough at first because just getting together as a group once a week on that coffee night, that was the first thing that everyone was saying that they really missed.
More people, she says, have been turning to meeting and chatting online. The group took some of its outings outside last summer, where COVID restrictions were a little less strict, but many members are still too nervous to meet in person.
Our whole goal is to get people off their computer at home by themselves to come out, and COVID's really not been helpful in that.
She says one couple who paired up in the group even went for COVID testing before meeting in person. That's how much COVID has changed the dating scene. But it's not all about finding a mate. This group, called People Alone Caring Enough in Moncton, also shut down its social gatherings last spring.
We made lots of friends and we can't see them anymore.
This is the first time these friends, many of whom are over 50, have met masked in months.
And not being able to see their faces. Give them a hug and say, hey, hi, how are you doing this week?
They'll take what they can get. As the vaccine rollout continues, both groups are hoping to return to in-person gatherings soon. Meanwhile, Kathleen and Scott are just grateful they found each other, even if they had to tick off the COVID checklist to be together.
It's not very romantic at all.
Because not having a special someone to hold during these trying times can get pretty lonely. Shelley Steeves, Global News, Moncton.
Well, once the majority of the country is vaccinated, I think everyone's social calendars are going to be jam-packed. We might even see a revival of the Roaring 20s here in the 2020s. Well, that's it for the Cross Canada Spotlight for this week. Be sure to watch Global News Weekend Saturday and Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Global TV app.